The Renaissance was started by Italian scholar guys. Take a peek at history, Renaissance rainbow. I can do anything, like paint or think, or even sing. Renaissance rainbow. I can go anywhere, like Florence or Venice. Renaissance rainbow.
The first book we will be talking about is Utopia, written by Thomas More in 1516. Thomas More was born in London in 1478. He studied Greek and Latin literature and grew up to be a Renaissance philosopher and humanist. He died in 1535. So, Hethlode, where all have you traveled?
I have traveled near and far and even have took my whole library with me.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Were there any societies that were particularly unique?
Yes, in fact there was. Utopia. Utopia was an island that had a perfect society. In Utopia, everybody got along and they all worked the same amount. They wore plain clothes so they all appeared equal and there was no war.
Wow, it seems like there wasn't much room for improvement. So, as we can see, Utopia embodied the Renaissance and the fact that Hethlode was on a search for knowledge and a better society, just as many people of the Renaissance looked to obtain. An excerpt from Thomas More's Utopia is, "They have no wars among them. They live rather conveniently than with splendor, and may be rather called a happy nation than either eminent or famous. There's always some piece of work or other to be done by the Utopians. They all wear a peculiar habit of one certain color, and their hair is cropped above their ears. This shows us how the Utopians dressed and worked equally in order to maintain a peaceful society. There was no conflict because everyone was virtually the same." Hello. Have you or a loved one been struggling with self-confidence? If so, get your painting of Narcissus today. Narcissus was painted by Caravaggio in 1597. It depicts a man staring at his own reflection, admiring his own beauty. Call 555 Narcissus in the next 0.02 seconds to get your picture of Narcissus too. You'll also get a free mirror so you can admire your own beauty as well. Thank you.
Another famous book of the Renaissance was The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli in 1513. He was born in Florence, Italy in 1569. He was a political philosopher and statesman. His most famous work was The Prince, which brought him a reputation as an atheist. He died in 1527. This is an excerpt from The Prince. Here a question arises, whether it is better to be loved than feared, or the reverse. The answer is, of course, that it would be best to be both loved and feared. But, since the two rarely come together, anyone compelled to choose will find greater security in being feared than in being loved. Love endures by a bond which men, being scoundrels, may break whenever it serves their advantage to do so. But fear is supported by the dread of pain, which is ever present. This shows us that Machiavelli believed that it was better to be feared as a ruler than loved.
This embodies the Renaissance because although the prince was in a high position and had the mindset he was better than most, it shows that there was still a desire for improvement of oneself and how to better society as a whole. Through self-analyzation, the prince had many flaws in his ways of ruling and desired to better himself to create a more functioning, brighter society.
Something is missing from your office space. But what? Perhaps a dog? Too rambunctious. Maybe a stove? Well, we already have one in the kitchen. That's it! A picture of St. Jerome in his study would be perfect in here.
St. Jerome in his study was painted by Antonello de Messina in 1475. The picture's peaceful serenity will provide a perfect environment for your workspace. Buy yours today. Another famous book of this time was the Inferno written by Dante Alighieri from 1308 to 1320. Alighieri was a major Italian poet and philosopher that was born in Florence, Italy in 1265. At a young age, he began studying painting, poetry, and music, and eventually took an interest in philosophy. From here, he created many works of poetry, his most famous being the Divine Comedy. He eventually died in 1321 in Ravenna, Italy. In the Inferno, Dante finds himself lost and scared in the woods. He's on the hunt for his wife, who is in heaven. He is then encountered by the famous Roman, Virgil, who says he will guide Dante to his wife. However, before they reach heaven, Virgil says that the two must venture through all 9 circles of hell to get to where they are going. The first circle of hell is the circle of limbo, where the pagans are. The second circle is the circle of lust. The third circle is the circle of gluttony. The fourth circle is the circle of greed. The fifth circle is anger. The sixth circle is heresy. The seventh circle is violence. The eighth circle is fraud. And the ninth circle is treachery.
Hi!
Who are you?
I'm Virgil. Nice to meet you. Okay, well, it seems that you're lost.
Yeah, I'm looking for my wife. She's in heaven.
She actually sent me to guide you to her. But first, we have to go through the 9 circles of hell. Come on!
Wow, I'm tired, but that was interesting. I never knew that certain scents could get you to certain circles in hell.
Yeah, I've seen it all before.
This is an excerpt from the Inferno. Midway on our life's journey, I found myself in dark woods, the right road lost. This excerpt opens the book and therefore establishes an allegorical structure on which the story unfolds. It embodies the Renaissance because it resembles the Dark Ages and the transition to the light of the Renaissance.
Humanism is an ethical and philosophical outlook on life that focuses on solving human solutions and gaining self-knowledge based on themes of literature, history, and moral philosophy. It focuses on a human's individual, rational way to solve a problem. Humanism was developed during the Renaissance period by a man named Francesco Petrarch. He was considered the father of humanism by creating this new movement based on humans' ability, and it was accepted by many. Petrarch created a belief that sparked the Renaissance period by believing in the rational thinking and abilities of humans to solve problems and exert creativity. Hello, Petrarch. It's so nice to interview you today.
It's nice to be here.
All right, so for the first question, where and when were you born?
I was born in 1304 in Arezzo, Italy.
Alrighty. It states that in 1326 was when you started studying literature. What was significant about this date?
That day is when my father died, and I decided to pursue my own interest, literature.
What are your beliefs of humanism?
Humanism is the belief system attaching prime importance to the human brain. I believe that God gave us the human brain so we could have our own free will to pursue the knowledge that we want to study.
What were most of your well-known poems about?
They were actually about the love of my life, Laura. The first time I saw her was in a church, and it was love at first sight.
Okay. How did you become interested in studying the classics?
I saw that Italy was in a time of darkness, and I turned to the works of the ancient Greek and Roman scholars as a remedy for this situation.
What book did you write, and what was it about?
I wrote the Canzoniere. It was a book consisting of all of the poems that I composed for my love, Laura.
What was your purpose for writing philosophical treatises, epic poems, and polemical works?
I feel as if there are people that corrupt learning and religion into Christendom. I wrote these works directed towards these people.
Who inspired your writings, and who did you look up to for inspiration in your writings?
The person that really influenced my poems was probably Laura, but the people I looked up to for education was most definitely the scholars of ancient Greek and Roman times.
Such as?
I really looked up to people like Cicero.
Did you think this belief that you have created would have sparked something as great and big as the Renaissance?
It definitely started as something that I had wanted for myself. Since my father died, he had always wanted me to pursue law, but I had wanted to pursue something more than that. I was always very interested in literature, but he never gave me the chance to pursue that like I'd wanted to. But when I saw that Italy was in the dark time that it was in, I felt like this was my perfect chance to study what I wanted. I never thought it would turn into the Renaissance.
Do you feel satisfied with everything you have accomplished?
I think what I've done is amazing. I think people should really look up to me.
Okay.
This video was made possible by the Medicis. Thank you.
Hold on.
Oh! St. Jerome.
Who are you? I'm Virgil.
Machiavelli.
Michelangelo, Villio. Yeah, Niccolo.